Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Fabiana Claure. And in today's episode, we are tackling a big topic: how to confidently raise your rates and charge the premium prices that you are worth for your expertise. If you've ever struggled to charge what you need and what you're worth, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. In today's episode, we're talking about pricing and how you can raise your rates and have more control over the perception of value that your clients need to have around you and around the value of your work. And most importantly, the value of the results you can provide for your clients. Let's start with the real value of your work. This is one of my favorite topics to share because the beautiful part is that when you actually quantify the value of your work, guess what? It's priceless. There is no actual number you can put towards the value of your work, because if you are a musician or a music educator, a music producer, any sort of creative entrepreneur that helps your clients achieve a life-changing transformation through whatever it is, learning music, overcoming performance anxiety, learning how to produce, learning how to place their music, learning how to find performance opportunities, learning how to perhaps recover from a performance-related injury, any service that you can help your clients through, the actual value of that service is priceless. Why? Because if you can help your clients get results faster, win back their time, overcome challenges that were keeping them stuck, perhaps save themselves years worth of trial and error or costly mistakes, then is it even possible to put a price tag behind that result? No, it's not. So when you realize that the value of your work is priceless, and that whatever number you choose for the actual price point and offer that you make will come down to your strategy, to your own desires, your own goals, your own financial needs, but that actually the results you provide are priceless, then that's actually going to liberate you from feeling so much pressure and making sure you're finding the absolute best price point. So let's talk about shifting your focus from not just the results that you provide and the time you spend, but ultimately how much is that worth for your clients? What is the value that they can place on the actual outcome? When you think about positioning your prices based on that, then you're actually going to liberate yourself from your own feelings of worthiness or lack of worthiness and self-worth. You're going to feel a lot more empowered to actually command the prices that you are worth. But the only way you can do that is if you have clarity around what are those results. You cannot just think about charging for your time anymore, right? If you're listening to this podcast, you're no longer hopefully considering working in a time for money situation, but instead you now need to charge for the impact that you create and for the goals that you have for your life. If you want to break $100,000 in the next month or 6 months or year, you just need to reverse engineer how many clients is it going to take for you to actually cross that 6-figure threshold. If you want to break 7 figures, the same thing applies. How many clients and at what price point would you need to charge in order to cross that financial income gap that you're wanting to meet? It just can come down to a very simple formula, because if you are listening to this, chances are you're exploring building a high ticket model, which is what we encourage you to do if you're looking into changing the way you work from trading your time into building a more knowledge-based business. The high ticket model, the premium offers, those allow you to work with fewer clients at a time, but at a higher price point so that you can actually get them results in a much more personalized way, but also doing it in a way where they're accessing your system and your processes, not just your time. And typically when we look at a higher ticket price point, we're looking at anywhere between $2,000 all the way to $5,000 or $6,000 for like an initial first time around program. Obviously after that, you can raise your prices and have different price points. But most of the musicians that we've worked with and helping them build these types of offers, they usually start around $5,000 for a 6-month program. And what that does is it allows you to just get a few clients coming in the door and quickly crossing the 4, 5, or 6-figure mark so that you can start bringing in the revenue and stabilizing your income, stabilizing your business. Once you do that, then you can continue adding more offers, building more programs, more services, even low-ticket programs and products if you want to. But you don't want to do that too prematurely. You want to start initially with one main offer where you can price your services and you can allow people to come and work with you at a premium. And most importantly, people who are not only going to come because they have the money or they have the means, which is a common misconception that I hear many musicians refrain from or be concerned with, is like, oh, I'm only going to build something for wealthy students. I want to reach everyone. I understand that. But the good news is that when you learn how to position yourself and define the value of what you're doing from the lens of your audience, then whether people have the means or not, they're going to come to you because they value what you're offering. Their goals are aligned with your beliefs. And they're coming to you not just because of what you offer, but most importantly, because of who you are. When you realize that that's going to attract the right type of client, the client who's committed, the client who's invested, the client who will be resourceful, even if they don't have the resources right at the beginning, then that's actually going to allow them to get better results. Let's talk about that. The psychology of pricing explains that when you create a higher price point, there's immediately an increased perception of value. Think about it. If you go to the store and you see two items that look similarly amongst each other, maybe you're looking at some shoes or something that you could look at them and say, well, I mean, they're not that different. But all of a sudden, one has a higher price tag than the other. Whether you like it or not, unconsciously, you're going to associate the higher price tag product with a higher value. Why? Because that's how we've been trained to condition our belief system, is that higher value means higher prices. The problem with that is that when you're trying to shift your price point, a mistake that many musicians make is that they are afraid of charging premium rates, higher ticket price points, because they fear that their clients are going to run away or they're not going to want to do that. And they're just going to lose their income, lose their opportunity. But instead, what I'd like to offer you in this episode is a reframe of that perspective and actually say, what if the problem isn't your price point? What if the problem is simply your positioning? Pricing isn't about a number, it's about positioning. What does positioning mean? Positioning means your ability to frame and to shape the value of what you do and how you help people. If you can explain in a clear and simple way to your audience, to your potential clients, how your services will help them solve a problem, and you're able to quantify not only the transaction, the solution, but also what will those solutions do for them in the long run? How will those solutions impact their life? How will that improve their time, their relationship with time, their quality of life, the things that they want the most? And when you learn how to position your work from this perception of value and do it in an authentic way, of course, it has to be true, right? This is not about making something up. This is about being really called from a place of service and integrity. But most of the times musicians struggle not because their prices are not right, or it's because they just don't know how to position their price point. And so they think it's about the number, and they think that lowering their price will get them better results when in fact it's not true. It's improving your communication skills and your positioning. So if you can commit to charging the prices that you want, that you feel are going to help you reach your goals, and then committing to improving your ability to command the positioning of those prices, to describe the value of those prices, then you will have no problem in reshaping that perception of value and charging what you need. Notice that I'm not saying charging what you're worth. I'm saying charging what you need, what you want. Why? Because as I said before, you're ultimately priceless. Your worth has nothing to do with the prices of your services. You may start with a program charging $5,000 or $2,000, whatever you want to charge. Please don't charge less than $2,000. If you want to be in a high ticket program, I recommend that's the minimum. You can start with a lower ticket, $2,000 or so. And then eventually you can raise those prices. You can eventually go from $2,000 to $5,000 or just $10,000. Does that mean that your worth has expanded, that you are now more worthy than when you started? No, you're worthy when you start, when you're in the middle, when you're at the end, you are worthy, period. So disconnect your sense of worthiness with the prices that you're charging. Your price point is based on your positioning, on the value, and on your financial goals, period. End of story. Practically speaking, what is the best way to make these changes when you have an existing base of students versus when you don't? Some of you may be in a position where you have some students that have been working with you in a way over a period of time, and you may be wanting to change those prices. And some of you may not have any students or any clients yet, and you're starting to position this offer and build it out to position this to new clients. So I'll talk about both scenarios so that you can understand how you can approach it. Either way, whether you have an existing base of clients or not, you want to let your clients know that you're in an era of reinvention. You're building a new way of working and you're restructuring your price points, ideally because there will be more value, right? There will be better results if you change the traditional way that most musicians work, where typically you're just working on a one-on-one lesson once a week and then the students are on their own for the rest of the week. They don't have any interaction with you. They don't have any way of getting feedback or support. Their progress is therefore slowed down significantly. And you change that to the models that we're talking about in this entire podcast. And if you are just catching up to this episode, you're not really quite sure what are the details of the models, just go and listen to the first 6 or 7 episodes of the podcast, binge through those, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about in terms of creating a high-touch program where you can actually have online asynchronous support. Your clients can send you questions back and forth. You can have a weekly masterclass. You can answer everyone's questions. You can gradually build trainings over time that will allow your clients to access your expertise instead of having to be face-to-face with you. There's all sorts of nuances to building this model, but essentially it comes down to you being able to say, you're building a new model, you're creating a higher ability for your clients to get support from you. And the price point that new clients are going to come in is XYZ, whatever number that is. Let's say for new clients, the price point is $5,000, but for your existing clients, you can offer them a discount. You decide what that needs to be. Typically, most of our clients price somewhere around the middle, like 50% off. So if the new price point is $5,000, the price for current clients will be somewhere around $2,500 for like a 6-month group program. But I'm just giving you some examples. Ultimately, you can play with this on your own and decide what works for you. But the bottom line is you want to shape the perception of value for your existing clients to know that you're in the process of upgrading, optimizing, that the new price point is going to look like this for new clients and that they get a discount. They get some sort of a VIP offer to be able to, as a part of a loyalty, a reward system, if you will. And then for new clients, it's easy. You just decide what your price point is going to be and you talk about that. That's it. Like you don't need to provide further explanation as long as, again, you're focused on designing that value-driven price point and you're not basing it whether you have 10 videos, whether they're going to meet with you once a week or twice a week, or whether they're going to download 3 PDFs or 2 checklists. That's nothing that matters. None of that is actually what's going to define your price point. What is it going to be? The result. Can you quantify the result? And ultimately, when you have that clarity around what is that result that you provide for your clients, that's what's going to build your confidence, right? That's what's going to allow you to say, you know, I can share with you this process. I can explain to you this transformation. And when you have that internal confidence, believe it or not, that's an energetic field that you're putting yourself in a state of feeling grounded, feeling confident, and being that anchor for the person in front of you who's considering your services. They can feel that. They can feel that confidence. And ultimately, that's what's going to allow you to be able to sell these higher ticket price points. It's your internal sense of belief in the services that you're providing and the results that you can provide. So I would say one of the most important things you're going to think about as you continue exploring this process of raising your rates is how can you get yourself to believe in what you're doing so much that when people talk to you, your energy is like anchored. It's like grounded. You're super centered. And there's no level of doubt or fear, because when you are trying to price your services and there's an element of fear or wonder, or you're afraid of people saying no, people can sense that. Believe it or not, it's an energetic frequency you get into. And people can sense that there's something about what you're saying that you are afraid of, therefore they should be afraid of, even if you don't say anything. The most important part then is if you can tap into that energy of confidence, then when it comes to overcoming fears and objections from people, which believe me, they will show up, and it's okay. Instead of seeing those as a sign of, oh, I need to retreat. Oh, people are saying no, they're not going to go with it. That means I need to lower my prices, which is so typical of the work I do with musicians when they come to me and they're like, oh, people are saying no, they're not wanting to go into my new process, my new program. Chances are you're just not being able to deliver the positioning of it effectively enough. You're not being able to explain what is it about what they're doing right now that is causing them to miss out on a benefit, and how will your new offer and your new price point give them more value than what they have been getting. If you can focus on you when in this process, instead of thinking immediately you need to slash down the prices, that's what is going to give you the opportunity to improve your sales skills and your confidence. When you see the objection moment in a conversation, that moment when people say, oh, but that's too expensive, or I'm not sure I can afford it, or I'm not really sure if this is for me, or maybe later, and you can lean into that moment instead of leaning out and thinking of that's a sign to say, oh, no, that's okay. Then like, whatever, I'll just give you a discount, or just like, I've got this other thing. And instead you can actually lean in and help people get to the root cause of those fears. Ask them, what do you feel is stopping you? What else do you feel you need to know? Do you have any questions? Is there some fear right now that you're going through? What insecurities do you have? And actually be able to hold that space for your clients when they are in that moment of overcoming fear and objection handling. Then that actually can be one of the most transformative moments in a sales conversation. Because now you're not just talking about the price point, you're now holding space for another human being who needs to be held, who needs to be heard, who needs to be understood. And even if they end up not buying your services, believe me that moment where you're actually listening and holding space and helping that person actually be true to themselves, to the real causes of their fears and insecurities, that moment can change their lives. So when you are okay with going through the process of talking about your services, even when it comes to the moment of objection handling and maybe overcoming those fears and figuring out this is where I can actually help the person the most. I can help them recognize what's actually holding them back and maybe let go of strong limiting beliefs or conditioned patterns of behavior, or even helping them reconcile their own relationship with price point and money and investing in themselves, that will change that person's life forever. So I want to encourage you to look at this whole episode and really ask yourself, where in this process are you right now maybe holding yourself back? Maybe are you unclear of what would be the best pricing strategy? And if you are, definitely reach out, because this is something that we work with day in and day out with our clients in helping them understand, where are you perhaps undervaluing your work, undervaluing your services, over-delivering and undercharging? And how could you create a strategy to reframe the work you're doing, both with existing clients if you have them, or if you don't, how to start rebranding your own image and your own positioning in the market so that you can confidently have a new price point and be able to feel that excitement about what you're offering and showing up from a place of love and service rather than a place of fear. The last thing I'm going to leave you with in this episode is, when in doubt, when it comes to price points, many of our clients ask us, can I charge $300 or $500? Can I charge $3,000 or $5,000? Can I charge? And the differences that you may be considering may feel like they're a big deal for you, but believe me, they're not for your clients. Anyone that pays $3,000 for your offer can easily pay $5,000, right? We're not talking about $3,000 to $10,000 or $3,000 to $30,000. If it's just a matter of a couple $1,000s or a couple $100, whatever you're looking at, trust me, you are going to want to ultimately settle on the price point that feels good to you, and ask yourself, how will I feel when I choose this price point? Will I feel love or will I feel resentment? If I feel love and I will be excited to serve my clients at this price point, even if you later change it. I've gone through charging price points from many different angles, low 4 figures, high 5 figures. I mean, it's been a variety of range of price points that I've developed throughout my career. And at each step of the way, it's come from a new version of myself, a new realization that, oh, now I can help people at this new level. I didn't know I could help people get these levels of results. I feel like this is worth charging double. You will get there too, trust me. So it doesn't really matter right now. Wherever you start, I'm hoping that you can start tuning into these tips and these strategies so that you can, number one, define the value of your results and confidently talk about these with clients so that they can tune into your energetic frequency. They can feel that confidence, that conviction that you have, and they're more willing and likely to follow your lead. Ultimately, sales is about leadership. If you want to lead your clients into making the best decision for themselves, it starts with you actually having an unwavering belief and faith in the value of what you're doing. Okay? So believe me, you're awesome. You are worthy. Charge the prices that you believe are fair for the results that your clients are charging, or for the results that your clients are getting. And do not look back. Do not worry about what other people are charging. Ultimately, you get to decide what are the price points that make sense for your financial goals. And remember, you can play with those. You don't have to stay limited. You don't have to stay fixed. You can always adjust and improve and even double and triple your rates if you want to. We've done this in many, many cases with musicians, and it's okay. Remember, you are totally and utterly priceless. And the prices you choose for your services are secondarily. I hope this helps. Until next time, let's prosper together.